Hi there, and welcome back to my garden. Now, what to do when you get new raised beds and have to fill them? Ideal would be to install new raised beds in autumn because they're a wonderful place to hide your garden scraps. However, now in springtime, I don't have any bushes to trim or old plants to discard. So what I'm doing here in these ones, they have 2 rows of boards, so they're a little bit higher than the other raised beds at the house. So I got more room to fill, and nobody has that amount of soil laying around to fill them. So in the bottom layer of the raised bed, I put old branches and debris from the woody bit of my property. So I'm going around and collecting anything that fell down during the past winter or even longer ago. I prefer the thicker the wood, the older it has to be, otherwise it would take a lot of time to break down. The really thin branches can be fresh. These will rot quickly anyways, but anything that's that thickness or thicker should be a couple of years old already, or it will very, very slowly break down. And it's about 5 to 6 wheelbarrows full of branches that I put in them. So it covers about the first half of the raised bed, and then I'm using leaves. There always is some corner of the property where all the leaves collected by the wind during winter, and in those areas I'm just grabbing everything I can to top up above the layer with branches. And if you look, it's quite squishy. It can be compressed down quite a lot, but that's good because you need the airflow and the room in there for the bed to settle and to properly decompose. The next layer will be from the compost heap and from the chicken coop, and on top of that I will have a layer of regular garden soil. So that's kind of the layering system I use to fill raised beds. Now they will be level with the wooden frame in the beginning, but during the gardening season everything will settle, and the soil level in the frames will sag a lot probably like a third of the frame will be without soil, but that's what you have to calculate. It's okay, and you can still fill up with more leaves and more compost and that kind of thing until they have properly settled, which takes usually about a year or two. And then there's not too much shrinkage in the beds anymore. What's important to remember is that all the wood and leaves in here, they don't have much nutrients at all. They're more for the structure of the raised bed and for decomposing over time to create soil. So they're not feeding the plants that I'm going to plant on top of them. So if you just cover the leaves with soil, that will be quite a nutrient lacking bed, so that would be good to plant peas or anything that grabs nutrients from the air. If you want to grow something that's a little bit more of a hungry crop, then you need to put a layer of rotted manure between the leaves and the soil that you put on top of as the last layer. So that's what I'm going to do here. I still get to clean out the chicken coop with all the old bedding from the winter, and that will be perfect to fill these beds and the ones over there. Since the beds at the house are just half the height of these ones, I'm skipping the layer with the wood, and there's an old flower bed soil level, so the soil there isn't that bad, and I will just fill the frames with leaves, a little bit of manure and topsoil. So there I'm skipping the wood branches, and they're not necessary, and because those beds at the house are just half the height, they wouldn't fill a purpose. So that's what I'm going to do and going to continue with over the next days. But it's a lot of material to fill. So doing 3 raised beds at the same time is quite a challenge. Doing basically 6 of them will take a while. So that's work for every evening or lunch break and weekend I can find. But there's still about 2 to 3 weeks to the average last frost date, so it's not too late in the season for me to get them installed and ready for summer. So each day a little bit, and the good thing is that the wooded parts of the property will be super clean afterwards too. So thank you for watching. Maybe I could help you with how to fill raised beds the easy way. And happy gardening. See you next time. Bye.